Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to the Davidson-Davie Community College Coaches Show. I'm Miles Poole, along with head coach of the Storm, Matt Ridge. We've got Brandon Mullis here tonight on camera. Jared Bowman is our engineer, as always, and we want to thank Matt Jacobs for being our host here at the Eatery in downtown Lexington. Coach, welcome. It's great to kick off the new season.
We're certainly excited. We've been working hard in practice. The guys are excited to play somebody other than their teammates. You know, we're less than 2 weeks away from our first game. We do have 2 more scrimmages left, and the guys are just really excited about the upcoming non-conference play before we get into conference play.
Well, we got a big crowd on hand. We got some fans, some players here. Hopefully out there you guys will be able to ask Coach some questions. So we'll be following this on Facebook. And if you've got some questions, please type those in, and we'll get to those as a reminder. Before we get into the season, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the offseason. A lot has happened since our last coaches show. And number one, congratulations are in order for you, well-deserved. Ken Kirk retired as director of athletics at the school, and you took that job in June, July. So how has things changed for you, number one? But again, congratulations to you, Coach.
Well, I'm more blessed than I deserve to get the athletic director job at the college. You know, I've wanted to be there full-time for a long period of time, and being there full-time allows me to do some things that I haven't been able to do over the last 14-plus years. You know, the guys I get to see during the day, they come by my office, we get to watch a little bit of film and just get to know them on a more personal level. But, you know, I taught high school math for 25 years and was blessed to do that, and Dr. Hartness and the search committee hired me to come in and hopefully take the athletic program to another level. And I'm so proud of our volleyball team. They've had one of the best years they've had in a long time, and they're getting ready to wrap up the regular season Tuesday night and then go to the regionals. And just Coach Elliott and Coach Burkhart's done a great job with our volleyball program. And I've been out on the road trying to raise a little bit of money and try to grow the program, and we're trying to do some new things. But Ken did a great job over the last 14 years, and I just am so blessed to have this opportunity to be there full time.
Well, we know what you've done to the basketball program, the stamp that you put on that. We can't wait to see the stamp that you put on athletics in whole at the school. So again, congrats. So we'll turn our attention to basketball now, which is what we came here for. You know, last year, this is the 15th season of the program. You started the program 15 years ago. You came about as close as you could possibly come to winning a national championship. Came up just a little short in that final game, made it all the way to the finals against Des Moines. And, you know, it was a game that really was a back-and-forth game, and I know that was a bittersweet end to the season. But you had told me, and I think we talked a little bit about it last year, when you started this program 14 years ago, one of the goals you had was in 15 years you wanted to bring a national championship to the school. This is the 15th season. This is it. Have you talked about that in any context with the players, or is that something that you keep to yourself?
You're not putting any pressure on me.
I'm not putting any pressure out of the gate, no.
Well, you know, I am fairly goal-oriented in a lot of areas of my life, but especially coaching and with our guys at the college. We don't talk a lot about it. We have mentioned it here and there. But at the end of the day, we have to focus on the process every day of getting better and how we go about doing that. You know, if you focus on the end product, you'll probably never reach it. You got to focus on the seeds that you're planting every day, so one day down the road you can eat the fruit from the seeds. So lifting, getting 1,000 shots up on the gun, and of course what they're doing in practice, and most importantly in the classroom, is how you achieve those long-term goals of competing on a regional and national level. This group certainly has as much talent as last year's team or the year before, but getting them to play hard, smart, and together is the challenge for me and my staff. And if we can get them to do that every day and continue to get better individually and collectively, we'll have a chance at the end.
Well, coming into this year, you've got 9 players returning from last year's squad, a team that we talked about at 23-3. You made it all the way to the finals. 3 starters, and then the rest, you know, 3 more actually, with several more with significant minutes for you. As we kind of break out the team for the fans this year, let's talk about those players, the returning players.
Well, in junior college, it's unusual to have, well, it's never really happened, third-year players. But because of COVID, guys got an extra year, a free year, so to speak. And so we have Javion Jones, L.J. Rogers, and Tim Boulware back for their third year that they've played. All three of them started last year. Javion was named first-team All-American. L.J. was All-Region. And Tim played a boatload of minutes and was the best player on the court the first two games in the national tournament. So, there's three guys that not only played but played big-time minutes last year. So that experience can't do anything but help us. And then we have Chase Mebane, we have Aaron Ross, we have Jaden Scriven, who started some games last year, Jarvis Tillman, who is really playing at a much higher level this year, and we have Bryce Douglas, who is a transfer in, and DeJuan Huntley. So we've got a lot of experience for JUCO, and I'm really been pleased with our returners in terms of their leadership role and embracing the new guys and helping them along mentally. Because really, to be honest with you, the biggest challenge in playing the way I like to play is not just getting in the best shape of your life. That is one of the challenges. But really buying into all the details that makes us do what we do. And our sophomores and third-year guys have really brought those guys along fairly well.
Well, you talked about returning players, and you got several players who had an opportunity to move on, right? They were able to go on and could have had went to some four-year institutions, but a couple of these young men came to you, I think, right when the season was over, and they said, "Coach, we want to come back and play, and we've got some unfinished business to do." Had to make you feel great, and L.J. Rogers, one of them, is here tonight. The other was Javion Jones, I think. Talk a little bit about what they mean from that means to you personally, but just to the team and the leadership aspect of that.
Well, I always try to do during the season what's best for the team, and then when the season's over, I try to do what's best for each individual. And we talked about them moving on and accepting one of those full scholarships. LJ was offered a scholarship by Claflin. Javion had several offers, but, they both came to me, and they were very persistent about coming back, and it made me feel really good in one sense, but in another sense, I really want them to do what's best for them outside of the season. So obviously, I wasn't going to turn them away or anything, but at the same time, I really want what's best for them when the season's over. And they'll have, at the end of this year, I think, more offers than they had last year, and I'm glad they're back. And they're certainly two of our best players or two of our captains. But we have other guys that are getting heavily recruited as well. Jaden Scriven's a returner. He's getting heavily recruited. We've got other guys that are already getting looks. We've got transfers that are here tonight that were on full scholarships last year. So I think this is going to be an exciting team to watch throughout the year. One is I think we're going to be a little bit further ahead right now than we would normally because of the number of returners. But we've got a lot of guys that are first-year players and some returners that didn't play a ton last year that have really gotten better in the offseason.
Well, you mentioned some transfers, and we do have some players here tonight. You've got some players on the team this year with some JUCO experience transferring from other schools. Give a little background on these young men.
Well, Zy Dawkins, who is sitting behind me, transferred from Erskine. He was a starter there. He played 2 years, but last year was a free year, COVID year, so he's got 1 year of eligibility left. It's rare for us to get a young man that started as a freshman at a 4-year school, but he chose to transfer out, hoping to get a lot more offers, which I think he will. He's one of our better players. He's fit right in well, not just in terms of his talent and how he plays, but chemistry. Michael Wade from Young Harris is also sitting behind me over here. He's a point guard transfer from the Burlington area, the hometown of where LJ's from, and some of our other players. We had Brevin Goodlett transfer from Bluefield State, and then Jaden Hester, who's also sitting behind me over here from one of our rivals, Caldwell Community College. So there's 4 transfers, and they're all 4 not just really good athletes and basketball players, but more importantly, good people. I think, Zy, Zy's still over there. Let's get him over here for a minute or two.
Let's do it.
Zy, step over here, buddy. I like putting these guys on the spot.
Hey, that's good for them.
Here you go.
So folks, this is Zy Dawkins, as Coach Ridge said, transfer from Erskine College. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Smart man. Question for you. As you look this year into where you were going to play, what led to your decision to transfer to Davidson-Davie?
Well, I just wanted to transfer somewhere that I knew I would get better and somewhere that I felt it was like family oriented, and that's how I felt it was here.
So, redshirted last year, but I did a quick look up on you. So, Spartanburg High School, I think, right?
Yes, sir.
17 points a game your senior year, so we know you can put the ball in the hoop.
Yes, sir.
You were voted MVP, offensive MVP of the team.
Yes, sir.
So, explosive offensive player. How are you feeling about and fitting into the team here?
Well, I feel like I fit in well because I'm surrounded by a lot of great players, and high school is usually I was the go-to, but here I feel like I'm surrounded by great players, so I'm working on getting other people involved and just fitting in. And the biggest thing is defensively and just making sure I'm in the best shape to compete here.
Now, you're sitting beside of him, and Coach Allen was over here. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I will. What's it like playing for Coach Ridge and Coach Allen so far?
I like it. It's fun. I feel like Coach Ridge is like very detail-oriented, and you can tell it works because it's in the results. So I love that about him. That's the biggest reason I came here.
Personal goals for you this year. What are your personal goals?
Have more assists and turnovers, and just be a dog on defense.
What about goals after school?
To go to a 4-year college and just have a great season at whatever 4-year I go to.
All right, question for you. How far can this team go this year?
As far as we want to go, as long as we just follow what Coach says and just work hard every day.
All right. Well, Zai, thank you for spending a little time with us here.
Thank you for having me.
We're glad to have you on the team. And we'll have to get some of these other guys as the season goes along too, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we know, in addition to the returners and the transfers, you and Coach Allen, I know, spend a ton of time year-round recruiting. And, there are other faces on the team this year that you guys have recruited. You want to talk about those guys?
Yeah, we got some of those guys actually here tonight. Jonathan Faust, sitting right over here in front of me, is from Providence Grove. He was the player of the year in his conference, athletic forward. More importantly, a really, really good, high-character young man that is really trying hard to fit in with how we play and not just, coming to the gym and getting up with shots, but really asking a lot of questions, which I respect. We have Jaheim over here from Princeton High School. He came from down east. We found out about him really late in the spring and recruited him really hard, brought him up. He did well. He came to Davidson having a lot of success. His team only lost one game last year in the regional finals, so he expects to win. And he's working just as hard as Jonathan mentally. I think the biggest challenge for freshmen is learning how to play as fast as we do and being able to think fast. Who else we got here first year? Is that it? Just those two guys? I already mentioned him earlier. But as far as first-year guys that are not transfers, we got Keith Reese from Bull City Prep, 6'8". He's working really hard as well. He's learning to think as fast as we play, just like a lot of our freshmen. But he has got a boatload of potential, and we're excited about his future as well. And we have some other, first-year guys right out of high school as well. And I think by the end of the year, it's going to be neat to see how their roles evolve, because they will do just that over time.
Well, I wanted to say this to Zai when he was up here, when he was talking about the reason he transferred. 14-year history of this program, guys, just to let you know, 363 wins, 77 losses. That's an 82.5% winning percentage. So it's an awesome program to be part of, and that's a lot of history there, and we'll certainly expect to carry that forward. Always like to brag on that. You can't do it by yourself, and you've got a lot of help. One of the guys sitting across the way here, Coach Allen, now entering his 4th season, I think, as an assistant for you. Brag about him a little bit. Tell us about his contributions and what he means to you and your team.
I don't think any assistant coaches get enough credit. The head coach is out in front. his name's in the paper and all that stuff. But assistant coaches are the ones behind the scenes taping ankles, driving the vans, and doing all the little things that people don't realize they're doing. I mean, just a couple nights ago when I was running practice, he was in Fayetteville all night recruiting, establishing those relationships with young men that we're eventually going to try to bring in next year. So having assistants that are not just working hard, but they're loyal to me is the most important thing, that I can find good people to bring in. And Coach Allen checks all those boxes. Coach Mullis, when he was on my staff, first 5.5 years of the program, certainly did the same thing. So I've been really blessed to have a lot of really, really, really good people on my staff.
So we met the team. We talked a little bit about Coach Allen. So we'll get into, I guess, the season, if you will. A few days ago, the NJCAA came out with their preseason polls, and you guys came in Division II teams. You're second in the country. So right out of the gate, great recognition, right? You haven't played a game yet. Great recognition. What kind of pressure does that put on you guys, though, right out of the box?
Well, we talk about pressure a lot, and we believe it's self-inflicted. No matter if you're ranked number one or not ranked at all, you should not allow anyone to be able to control the way you think. And sometimes that's not easy, but we tell our players to treat success like failure. And if you're getting patted on the back, whether it be through a poll or, your coaches, you need to stay humble. And if you don't stay humble, you can quickly be humbled. And last year we got ranked number one, and the very next night went to Fayetteville Tech and got beat by, 17, but we were down over 30. And we didn't lose another game until the national finals after that. So my wife told me when I got home that night that losing that game was the best thing that could have happened. And at the time, I didn't really believe that. And it was hard for me to swallow because we played so poorly. But she was right. It helped us maximize our potential the rest of the season. I don't know if we would have gone to the national finals without us playing that poorly. And Fayetteville Tech played really well. But, this national ranking of number 2 is nice, and we can use it in recruiting. But at the end of the day, it's just a ranking. I mean, look at Carolina's football team, Chapel Hill. They were ranked number 10 preseason, and they're not very good right now. Mac Brown's talked about how they're not the 10th best team in the country. So rankings are nice, but they don't mean a whole lot.
Well, just a side note, the wife is always right. Mine as well. So
happy wife, happy life.
That's right. So you've had a little bit of action before the before we get into the regular season. I think you've had a scrimmage, maybe 2. How have you guys looked so far?
First game we played Caldwell at home, where Jaden transferred from, and we shot the ball miserably. But our half-court man-to-man carried us. LJ, we were talking about that today in practice. He didn't shoot the ball well, but he was really, really good defensively. And Coach Allen says all the time, defense travels, and it does. We went 31-1 2 years ago, and last year we were 23-3, and arguably those are 2 of the best defensive teams I've ever had. So we hang our hat on that end. We spend a tremendous amount of time in practice on concepts and principles and habits defensively. Today we probably spent 3/4 of practice on defensive principles. So, our schedule's not easy. I'm sure you're probably going to ask some questions about it, but at the end of the day, we have to be elite on that end to reach our goals.
Well, speaking of schedules and it not being easy, I mean, I was looking at it, and right out of the box, first game of the season, you guys on the road, overnight trip, I'm sure, traveling down to Marianna, Florida, and you're taking on a team. I'm not familiar with this team, but I was looking at them, Chipola College. And I think they started the season ranked 13th in the nation, and looking at their history, just a big D1 program. How much do you know about them as you scouted them, and what challenges do they pose for you in game one?
A lot of challenges. I mean, a lot. D1 JUCOs in Florida is much different than D1 or D2 or D3 JUCOs in North Carolina. Their head coaches are usually paid 6 figures. They have full scholarships. They have 13 full scholarships. They have dorm rooms. They have meal plans. They have the whole deal. And so they're getting your high major kids. Like last year they had a 7'3" kid that's at Florida State now. They had a guard at Seton Hall. They have a guard at Boston College. So, we're going to be playing against some guys that will play on TV and possibly in the NBA and certainly overseas. So, we're certainly not going to be able to walk in there and out-talent them, but we can play harder, smarter, and more together. And the most talented teams don't always win. And so we've been prepping for them quite a bit already. This game kind of fell in our lap. Their assistant coach called me about a month ago and said their opponent for their opening game canceled on them, and he was looking for a quality opponent and noticed we played in the D2 National Championship, and he asked me if we would be willing to come down, and they're actually paying for our hotel rooms and our meals. So I said, I think we can make that work. So I had one game left to schedule, and we scheduled it, and the guys are super excited, and it's going to give our kids some national exposure and our college national exposure as well. Their stadium they play in is a lot different than Brinkley Gym in terms of size. So our kids are looking forward to playing against a quality opponent on the road in a really nice facility.
That'd be a great experience for them. I was wondering how you scheduled that, what the connection was. That's not the only D1 team that you guys play in your non-conference schedule. You've got a couple more scattered throughout here.
We do. We play Walter State at the Caldwell Gym, or the Caldwell Classic in December, I believe it is. And then we also play Moravian's post-grad team, who's got Division I players. And then we play Denmark Tech, who's also a Division I JUCO. So I believe that's 3 D1 JUCOs and Moravian post-grad, who's probably better than a lot of D1 JUCOs. So those are 4 big-time challenges for us. And then we play some other JUCOs as well, like Sand Hills, who's ranked #1 in the country in D3. And, that'll be on New Year's Day. That'll be a fun game to be a part of.
So November 3rd is our first home game. It's against Central Carolina Community College. What's going to be, for the fans, what's going to be the COVID protocol for that?
Well, we've already had one home game, and we also had the blue-gray game at home. It was packed. I've never felt like we've had the atmosphere we had against Caldwell in a preseason scrimmage. Our fans just really created a lot of energy for our players. It was really loud. It felt like a mid-season conference game. So I think our community is excited about us finally playing, and they're able to come. The only protocol we have currently with COVID is they have to wear a mask while they're inside any building on our campus. So if you're listening tonight and you're planning on coming to our games this season, please bring a mask, because you will be asked to wear one while you're inside the gym. The only people that are not required to wear a mask are the officials and the players in the game.
So I always like to talk about this. So in the 14 years of the program at Brinkley, you guys are 210-19. That's 91, almost 92% win percentage. Talk a little bit about that home atmosphere and the importance of that Storm fan support as the sixth man, if you will.
Well, Miles, there has been talk over the last 5 to 10 years about us possibly building another facility, and I hope one day we do. But if we do ever make that happen, I'm going to miss Brinkley Gym. The fans are right there on top of you. I think our fans enjoy that piece of it. And the intensity and, the passion from our fans, you can almost cut it with a knife. It's just a lot of fun to be around. And I think our first-year guys, they've got a little bit of taste of that. But as we go through this journey together, I think they're going to understand how much energy they really provide. And I'm just really blessed that there's so many people in our community that follow us, and they're passionate. They get to know our players. They come an hour to an hour and a half before game time. And I will say, since we're allowing fans this year, for the bigger games, really all of them, but especially the bigger games, if you want to make sure you get there early, or, at some point we will have to make the decision to close the door because of the fire marshal.
Well, you start conference play November 10th against Patrick Henry, and I think that game's at home. Talk a little bit about the strength of the conference this year and what we can expect to see.
In Region 10, I was talking about this with my staff last year, my wife. There's so many quality opponents. I mean, we've been very blessed to win a lot of close games over the last 2 years. I'm a firm believer in what John Wooden says, the best conditioned team will win in the end, and I think the fact that our kids are in incredible shape has helped us. But we've had some teams that had us beat on the road. Last year, Bryant Stratton, we had to hit a game-winning shot. 2 years ago, we came back from down 8 at Lewisburg. You know, Wake Tech this year is absolutely loaded with talent. Of course, Lewisburg is as well. Bryant Stratton's going to be really good. Fayetteville Tech's got a great group again. You know, there's a lot of teams in our league that could win on a national level. It's a matter of getting there. And there's only going to be 1 to 2 teams in our region that make it. There's one team out of Florida that will get to play the winner of our regular season and then the winner of our tournament. So last year it was us and Lewisburg, us and Sand Hills. And this year I'm hoping we can compete during the regular season and then, of course, the tournament.
So Sand Hills, you mentioned Sand Hills a moment ago coming out this year. They're ranked top of the nation in the D3. They leave the conference after a year. Prior to that, they won the national championship in 2020. So Mike Apple, always a big rivalry for you guys. But even though they're leaving the conference, there's still going to be a game to be played, and it's going to really be a big one kicking off the new year.
It should be a fun game for everybody to be a part of, including our fan base. So if I were coming to that game, I'd make sure I got there early. The history between the two schools, especially in basketball, is fairly heated. So I'm looking forward to that to start the new year off the right way.
Well,
hopefully.
Last year you beat those guys. I always like to throw this in too. You beat them 4 times. The team with that caliber of team, it's tough to beat 1 time, much less 4 times. Talk a little bit about how it felt from as big of a rivalry as that game is to win that thing 4 times.
Well, it didn't feel real good when we blew the lead and they were up 2 or 3 with under a minute to go. But fortunately, we scored a couple buckets and Chase Medman came flying from weak side and got a block like LeBron James. But I'm telling you, Miles, Mike Apple's teams play hard, really hard. And so if you're coming to that game, you better get there early.
Well, folks, if you have any questions, you can certainly text them in to Facebook for us, and we'll ask Coach. As director now of athletics at the school, is there anything you'd like to share if we switch gears a little bit from basketball about the other sports there?
Well, like I said earlier when we started, Coach Elliott and Coach Burkhart has done a wonderful job this year with our ladies on the volleyball team. They play at Spartanburg Methodist Tuesday night, and then they start the quarterfinals of the regionals the next night, Wednesday. And then hopefully we'll advance to the semis at Cape Fear. They've had the most wins this year than they've had in a long, long time. The girls play really hard, smart and together, and they're a fun group to watch play. They lost a heartbreaker last night to Surrey, who's 22-3, I believe. But they've had a phenomenal year. And then Coach Branscombe with our golf program's doing a great job. He's brought in some really big-time talent, and I look forward to watching him grow the program.
So, question for you, as Storm fans are watching here, looking out into the future. So you got three sports there. Your thoughts now as director of athletics. What may be on the horizon? Anything you can share with us? Any other sports that we're thinking about down the road?
Long term, I think that is a strong possibility. Dr. Hart and I have talked about making sure we have the funds to fund what we currently have before we add sports. One of the worst things you can do in junior college is add too many sports too quickly, because if you can't financially support them, then you'll have to actually cut a program, which would be awful. So one of the things I've really respected about the former and current administration is how slowly they've added sports. I've watched other junior colleges in Region 10 add too many sports too quickly because you can't use state money, and then they have to cut programs, which is really, really disheartening for kids that have been brought in there to play. Then they have to find another college to transfer to play if they want to continue to play. So, eventually we would like to add sports, but right now I'm really trying to raise funds for some immediate needs for the entire athletic program. We'd like to add a digital board inside Brinkley Gym. We have some current donors that have joined our partnership and sponsoring us. Strickland Brothers has given quite a bit of money. We've named a court after Justin that played for me in 2007, 2008. He was a first-team All-American, so the court is now named Strickland Brothers Court. Jerry Hunt Auto has given quite a bit of money as well towards athletic scholarships, so there's a big sign outside of Brinkley Gym. So if there's any companies out there listening, or if anyone knows any companies interested in getting involved with our sponsorship, please either email me or give me a call.
So there are a couple of other things too, how people can support Storm Athletics. No, we got something sitting here we might want to talk a little bit about. This is a season pass for the 2021-2022 season. We'll talk about this and how folks can get their hands on this.
Absolutely. It's $80 will get you into all the home games. Jared Bowman, as always, has done a phenomenal job with creating the passes and the lanyard, of course, and you'll wear that around your neck to every home game, and it'll get you in, save you some money over the course of the season. So if you're interested in that, please give me a call or email me. Again, $80 gets you in every home game.
So I've got something else here too that I wanted to show. This is in Brandon Mullis's favorite color. So this is this is new swag, right? This is new swag, beautiful logo. This is my hoodie. It's very, very large, which for me I need. And, you know, they got a nice sweatshirt here and some other Storm swag. How can fans get their hands on this?
Well, this goes back to what I tell our players. We have all these people in the community donating money and helping us out with numerous things. People behind the scenes that we call the choir. Well, my wife is the person that has made all that happen and opening up this store through Design Illusions, Paul Gray and Danny Palmer. So we have a link on my Facebook page and I believe my wife's Facebook page. If you're interested, it'll be open until October 31st. You can get your Storm gear through the link, and then I'll be picking it up, or my wife, and we'll get it to you. But there's some really nice stuff on there.
So, you know, we'll be doing these coaches shows all season long. Really look forward to them. We've got one next Thursday at 7 o'clock right here at the Eatery. I'm going to miss that one, but Kip Childress is going to come in and do that. And actually, I just got a text from Kip. He's watching, says hello. Go Storm. So we look forward to working with Kip this year as well. Last year we had it was a lot of fun. Doing these coaches shows was a lot of fun. I know it was a lot of fun for you. It certainly was for me, hopefully for the fans as well. But, you know, we had David Tripp, I think. Jeremy Ritter came in, Justin Strickland, you know, Daniel Lawson. We had some former Storm players come in as guests to chat with us, and it was fun to hear about their experience, but to find out what they're doing today. And you know, so many players have gone on to do really great things, and a lot of what they are today is because of the things that they learned while at the school and playing in this program, which is great to see. Are we going to have some of that this year as well?
I sure hope so. I'll be in touch with former players. You know, family is so important to me and Candace. Not just our biological family, but our basketball family. And if there's one thing that I'm most proud of, other than our consistency of success over the last 14 years, is what our young men have gone on and done with their lives and the success they're having with their own family, with their own business, and what they're doing with their life.
So I guess the last thing for us, the 30 minutes went by quick, Coach. We talked a little bit about how, you know, the corporate sponsorship and how individuals can contribute. You know, if they want to reach out to you, how can they get in touch with you?
They can give me a call. My cell phone's on the website, or they can shoot me an email. You know, I've been going out in the community. I spoke at the Rotary Club about a month or so ago, you know, and we got some sponsorships from me going out there, which was wonderful. You know, we have had Edward Jones get involved already. We've had, you know, BB&T, Truist. We've had other companies in the area get involved, in some individuals. Sage Auto, which is the guy I grew up with in high school at Ledford, Randall Sage, who owns Sage Auto and High Point. So just numerous people. So if there's anyone out there tonight interested in getting involved in any capacity, please hit me up. You know, I'd love to chat with you about what we have going and, you know, what you can get in return for your money, and in addition to helping young men and young ladies at our college with athletic scholarships or whatever it is that you would like your money to go towards.
So any questions from anyone here at the Eatery tonight? And again, we thank Matt Jacobs for letting us come in and do it here. Any questions for Coach?
Manuel, you typing your question in, or you want to ask it? How about you players? Y'all got a question?
Good.
I could ask them some questions.
Oh, you don't need to ask him that. I mean, that's I know what the answer to that is.
Yeah, that don't even deserve a response. The lighter shade of blue will get them every time.
The question was Duke or Carolina. LJ.
All right, LJ wants to say a few things.
Okay, LJ.
Come on up here, LJ. LJ had surgery, so I don't know if he's still on medication, so there's no telling what he's able to say here. Well, here, LJ.
Listen, we have this debate every day, and I want y'all on Facebook to take a poll. Coach Ridge in his prime versus LJ. Who y'all got? I know who I got.
Those of you who saw me play, remember LJ's 5'9", I'm 6'3", and I could shoot over him on the perimeter or back him down.
6'3". Did you shrink?
You got any other questions, Miles, for this young man?
Well, I don't think I ever saw you play. I've seen you coach a lot in high school and college. I saw LJ play last year, and both ends of the court, talking about locking down other players, best offensive players. The man's the defensive specialist on the offense, can do what he wants to do on offense. I don't know, man. I might go with you, LJ.
He's gotten a lot better defensively, and I'm going to tell you, he's one of our best defenders.
Yeah.
And I mean that sincerely. His first year with us, he didn't see the floor the first half of the year, but ever since we talked over Christmas, he's been completely balled in defensively, and he's been an absolute joy to coach. And I was just telling him earlier today, and I told Candace last night, I'm going to really, really, really miss LJ. But he is a remarkable young man that has gotten a lot better over 2.5 years.
Any other questions, LJ? No, I'm good. You're good?
Yeah, after I praise him, he doesn't have any more junk to talk, does he?
So no other questions out here in Facebook land. So I think that wraps us up for tonight. Thank you, Coach. I'll let you have any final parting shot.
Well, I'm looking forward to the season. I mean, the guys have been going at it. We have some guys banged up a little bit, Timmy, and today Jaden Scriven tweaked his knee a little bit. But, you know, we have 20 guys competing for 15 spots to dress. And after this coming weekend, I'll be making some tough decisions. And Storm Nation out there, looking forward to seeing you on the 3rd of November, 7 o'clock, Central Carolina Community College.
Well, we want to thank you, Coach, for allowing us to come in and do this as well. As I thank you for chatting with us a little bit. And LJ, Brandon, thanks for the camera work. Jared for the engineering. Matt Jacobs, thank you for allowing us to come in here. Coach Allen, thank you. And all the folks that came out, players and fans, to support this. This is great. We will see you next Thursday night right here at 7 o'clock.
When we get back from Danville, Illinois in late March, I'll tell everybody what I would have done to LJ if we played one-on-one. I don't want to hurt his confidence right now.
Sounds like a plan. Folks, thanks for tuning us in. We'll see you next Thursday right here on the Coaches Show.